Great. 4 o'clock on the dot.
Fire away.
Okay.
And Brandon,
Hello.
you watch the chat, sorry.
Oh, are you going to watch the chat for me?
Yeah, keep admitting stuff, yeah.
Okay, great. Thank you for doing that. Okay, hello and welcome everyone to this week's leadership seminar. I hope you all are doing all right. Maybe have turned off the news for a minute or two to take a deep breath and think about some positive things that we can change in this world. And today we're going to be talking about culture and establishing a culture of collaboration. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. Oh, no, I'm not. Clint, would you allow me to share my screen?
Yes, I forget every time.
You are just fine.
Let's see, multiple. No, I don't want to do that. One.
Oh, I think it's working now.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay. All right. Are you guys able to see my screen okay?
Yep, we can see it.
Perfect. Okay. Whoever picked out this theme last year is like my favorite because this is an adorable theme. So, like I said, we're going to be talking about establishing a culture of collaboration. But something that we've been talking about this whole semester is relearning. And so this is one of my favorite videos about relearning. We watched it in a training, I think it was the LBDL training or LPDL training that we did. But this is about the backwards bicycle, and I love it. So let's go ahead and watch.
Hey, it's me, Destin. Welcome back to Smarter Every Day. You've heard people say it's just like riding a bike, meaning it's really easy and you can't forget how to do it, right? But I did something. I did something that damaged my mind. It happened on the streets of Amsterdam, and I got really scared, honestly. I can't ride a bike like you can anymore. Before I show you the video of what happened, I need to tell you the backstory. Like many 6-year-olds with a MacGyver mullet, I learned how to ride a bike when I was really young. I had learned a life skill and I was really proud of it. Everything changed though when my friend Barney called me 25 years later. Where I work, the welders are geniuses and they like to play jokes on the engineers. He had a challenge for me. He had built a special bicycle and he wanted me to try to ride it. He had only changed one thing. When you turn the handlebar to the left, the wheel goes to the right. When you turn it to the right, the wheel goes to the left. I thought this would be easy, so I hopped on the bike, ready to demonstrate how quickly I could conquer this.
And here he is, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Destin Sandlin. First attempt riding the bicycle.
I couldn't do it. You can see that I'm laughing, but I'm actually really frustrated. In this moment, I had a really deep revelation. My thinking was in a rut. This bike revealed a very deep truth to me. I had the knowledge of how to operate the bike, but I did not have the understanding. Therefore, knowledge is not understanding. Look, I know what you're probably thinking. Destin's probably just an uncoordinated engineer and can't do it. But that's not the case at all. The algorithm that's associated with riding a bike in your brain is just that complicated. Think about it. Downwards force on the pedals, leaning your whole body, pulling and pushing the handlebars, gyroscopic precession in the wheels. Every single force is part of this algorithm. And if you change any one part, it affects the entire control system. I do not make definitive statements that often, but I'm telling you right now, you cannot ride this bicycle. You might think you can, but you can't. I know this because I'm often asked to speak at universities and conferences, and I take the bike with me. It's always the same. People think they're going to try some trick or they're just going to power through it. It doesn't work. Your brain cannot handle this. For instance, this guy, I offered him $200 just to ride this bike 10 feet across the stage. Everybody thought he could do it.
No, you didn't understand. You didn't understand. So, this way. All right, so, whenever you're ready, yeah. No, you have to keep your feet on. All right, let's get together. Wait, like you gotta start rolling at least. And go. Oh no! Okay. Keep your feet on the pedal. Go. Keep your feet on the pedals. Yeah. All right. One more time.
Once you have a rigid way of thinking in your head, sometimes you cannot change that, even if you want to. Here's what I did. It was a personal challenge. I stayed out here in this driveway and I practiced about 5 minutes every day. My neighbors made fun of me. I had many wrecks, but after 8 months, this happened. One day I couldn't ride the bike, and the next day I could. It was like I could feel some kind of pathway in my brain that was now unlocked. It was really weird though. It's like there's this trail in my brain, but if I wasn't paying close enough attention to it, my brain would easily lose that neural path and jump back onto the old road it was more familiar with. Any small distractions at all, like a cell phone ringing in my pocket, would instantly throw my brain back to the old control algorithm and I would wreck, but at least I could ride it. My son is the closest person to me genetically, and he's been riding a normal bike for 3 years. That's over half his life. I wanted to know how long it would take him to learn how to ride a backwards bike, so I told him if he learned how to ride a backwards bike, he could go with me to Australia and meet a real astronaut. Are you going to give up? Go ahead. This is how it starts. Look at this. This is such a big deal. Get up, you got it. Did you see his brain get it? So he, in how many weeks have we been doing this? 2 weeks? In 2 weeks, he did something that took me 8 months to do, which demonstrates that a child has more neuroplasticity, am I even saying that right, than an adult. It's clear from this experiment that children have a much more plastic brain than adults. That's why the best time to learn a language is when you're a young child. All right, today's bike log. I can ride smooth, I can ride fast. I'm thinking the experiment is over. Okay, now I'm in Amsterdam, a city that has more bicycles than people. The question is, can I ride a normal bike now? I mean, I've spent all this time unlearning how to ride a bike. If I go back and try to ride a normal one, will my brain mess up? So I've tweeted a Smarter Everyday meetup, if you will, and I'm going to see if somebody brings a bicycle, and I'm going to try to ride a normal bike. It's backwards. It's backwards. This was one of the most frustrating moments of my life. I had ridden a normal bike since I was 6, but in this moment, I couldn't do it anymore. I had set out to prove that I could free my brain from a cognitive bias. But at this point, I'm pretty sure that all I proved is that I can only redesignate that bias. So what you're not seeing is just a group of people here looking at me, looking at the strange American that can't ride a bike because they think I'm dumb. But I'm actually 2 levels deep into this because I've learned and unlearned. All right. After 20 minutes of making a fool out of myself, suddenly my brain clicked back into the old algorithm. I can't explain it, but it happened in a very specific moment. Got it. I'm back. Oh, click. Hold it, click. I got it. Okay, there it is. There's the moment. Okay, I can ride a bike. I tried to explain this to the people around me, and they just didn't get it. They thought I was faking the previous 20 minutes, and I couldn't get anybody to believe me. That was what you're faking, didn't it? Yeah. Just a thing you think I'm faking. You don't believe me. You think I'm lying, don't you? I'm not lying. I felt like the only person on the planet who had ever unlearned how to ride a bike, and I couldn't articulate it to anyone because everybody just knew that you can't forget how to ride a bike. So I learned 3 things from this experiment. I learned that welders are often smarter than engineers. I learned that knowledge does not equal understanding. And I learned that truth is truth, no matter what I think about it. So be very careful how you interpret things, because you're looking at the world with a bias, whether you think you are or not. I'm destined to get smarter every day. Have a good day. If you want to support Smarter Every Day.
Okay. How did you guys like that video? Pretty interesting, huh? Do you want to maybe put in the chat, do you think you'd be able to ride that bicycle, the backwards bike?
No possible way. No way. I don't either.
No one thinks they could do it. I loved how his kid could do it in 2 weeks, and it took him 8 months. Now, if you don't know this guy, he is the host of Smarter Every Day, and it is a great YouTube channel if you're looking to learn new things or want a fun YouTube to spur like a journal prompt or a blog entry for your classes. The other thing that I thought was super powerful in this video is knowledge does not mean understanding. So a lot of the times, like, you can know all the right things, but that's not as deep as knowledge, as understanding is. All right, so today we're going to talk about building a collaborative culture. That's what our discussion is for this week. And this quote I thought was really wonderful. The nature of relationships among the adults within a school has a greater influence on the character and quality of that school and on student accomplishment than anything else. Now, I want you to think, maybe you've been at a school that has a great collaborative culture and everyone works really well together. That doesn't mean that they necessarily agree on everything, but when there is some kind of disagreement, they're able to work past that challenge together. And maybe you've also been a member of a school or a school team that just didn't get along and it was a really toxic culture and we couldn't work together. And I want you to think about how, if the students were the center of the conversation there. If you're in a toxic culture, you may not have the students at the center of what your conversations are. And maybe the toxic culture and the really successful culture was at the same school, and it just depended on the leadership that you had during that time. So I want you to kind of be thinking about the different experiences you've had throughout the years. So when we're talking about elements of a collaborative culture, well, we have to understand, first of all, what is school culture? And it's definitely the beliefs, the traditions, the values, the climate, the environment, which are different parts of our school. But I think it's easiestly described as the way we do things around here. So, for example, one of the schools that I worked at, Wilson Elementary School, one of the things was the way that we do things here is we would never dress up for Halloween. And this was an elementary school. And I know some of you elementary teachers are out there like, oh, no Halloween parade? You don't dress up? Like, that is terrible. Well, it was out of respect for the many cultures we had in that school. I think it was over 80 languages were spoken at that school. And some cultures didn't believe in dressing up or thought different things about dressing up were offensive. And so that we just, out of respect for everyone, we didn't dress up at that school. And that was the way we did things. And it was out of respect. It was always out of this culture of respect that I think everyone really learned to appreciate. So I want you to think about something that's a way we do things at the school that you're at. Maybe it's something special you do at the beginning of the year faculty meeting. What's something that you do when you haven't seen each other all summer, where you get together so you can learn from one another and welcome each other? Maybe it's something you do at the end of the year. Maybe it's just the way that your principal listens and values what it is that you're thinking about. So those can all be pieces of school culture. Oh, this slide's a little giant. Okay, so I want you to think about how your stakeholders might view your school's culture. So we know that stakeholders are more than just faculty and staff at a school. They're parents, they're students, there are paraprofessionals that help us, all of those pieces. So how are they viewing what is happening at your school? And there are 3 questions that we're going to all add our thoughts to, and they are: what is the most important cultural challenges for your school in creating a collaborative culture? So why or why not is it working or not working at your school? And what do school leaders need to do to enable a culture of collaboration? And then the last one is, how do we build a culture of collaboration? So what I want you to do is open another window on your computer and go to bit.ly/culturecollabo, all lowercase, and you'll be brought to this Padlet. So all of the questions are on that Padlet, and you can answer whichever one you feel most comfortable answering. Just click on the plus sign. You can just put in your first name, and then you'll type your response to whatever question. We'll give you a few minutes to do that.
You put the address up again?
Of course. bit.ly/culturecollabo. Clint, if you could type that in the chat, that would be lovely.
Yeah.
Thank you. And if you're watching the recorded version, please feel free to check out what's on there and add your own.
ABO. Dang it. It's in the chat.
Thank you. Got some deep thinking happening. I appreciate it.
So Danny, what I see on my screen is a little bit different than what you're showing on your screen, but there are some answers on the screen I see.
Oh, weird.
No .com, Danny.
Oh, yeah. Typing is hard. Huh. Okay, well, I'm glad there are answers on this one. So our team works together on school programs. This brings us together. It's important to not gossip about each other, be supportive.
Also on the bottom right of the screen.
Sorry, Clint?
Oh, sorry. Craig was asking me how to add a new one.
Oh, okay.
He's in the room with me.
Teamwork happening over there?
He's in my CMAP class too, so.
Oh, getting some learning done this summer.
We're forcing him to be at the meeting today.
I like what Angela is saying here, that it takes time to build a culture that values collaboration. Her district has it built into every schedule, and every Monday they meet in teams to connect and solve problems, and she's grateful for that time. So something I think is really interesting is when I talk to a lot of principals, they talk about how protective they are of their teachers' time, in that anything that's going to take them away from their students, like any minute away from their classroom, it better be worthwhile. And it sounds like, if done correctly, this kind of collaboration is absolutely worthwhile to the teachers in that school district. Oh, I like this, having socials to get to know one another. That's really important, to get to know one another, so we know who we're dealing with, and to respect one another and respect their ideas, and maybe know them more than just the quiet teacher in the faculty room, or the teacher that always has something to say in the faculty room, right? I've been both of those teachers. Ooh, I love this. We have to be vulnerable. As a leader, sometimes showing your vulnerabilities is very important. This is great, you guys. These are some great examples. Having a safe environment, no clicks. And I think that's something hard. I think oftentimes we have cliques or groups that work well with one another, but it can be detrimental to the school culture if people feel like they're being left out. And yes, always food. Whoever put that, yes. It's the same with college students and teachers. Bring us food and treats, and we can probably do about anything. Okay, I am going to pop back over to our slides. Please feel free to put your culture of collaborations on this board. If you have other thoughts that you'd like to share, you can check back later in the week. This is from, sorry, whoops, back we go. 8 Reasons My Principal Rocks. And it had 8 really good tips on how to foster relationships of collaboration, making sure to put relationships first. I think oftentimes we forget that people are people too, with their own lives and stresses and worries happening. So putting our relationships first and putting people first, being able to trust one another, fostering a collegial environment where we can respectfully disagree with one another and talk out those conversations. Every student in the school being our student. I think a lot of times when problems arise, simply putting what's best for our students at the center of the conversation helps to ease a lot of the tension and oftentimes solve the problems. Creating that shared vision, whatever the vision of your school is, making sure that everyone has buy-in and a piece of building that shared vision, putting needs at the forefront, being empathetic, and then of course, modeling collaboration. It's great to preach collaboration from the office of the school, but if you're not a collaborative leader, people aren't going to collaborate below you. Okay, now we are looking at week 5 assignments. So this week in the discussion, you're going to be talking about building that collaborative culture like we've been talking about today. And then your reflection is going to be on Gear 4, data and privacy. There has been a lot of work done around data and privacy at the state level, and that has gone down to districts. So look to see if you can find what the state policies are for student data privacy, and then as well what your district's policies are, because you might see that your district is a bit more restrictive. So data and privacy includes data and data systems, data policies, procedures, and practices, data-informed decision-making, and making sure that we have data literate education professionals, which is very important for all of us, and we can always be working on that. Does anyone have any questions? Clint, I'm gonna have to rely on you in the chat here because I can't see it.
Nope.
No questions at this time? Awesome. Remember, you can always email one of the instructors if you have a question. Here's all of our emails and our bright, shiny faces. Is this the right information for the Davis conference?
It's not. I updated it, but I don't know if it got on there.
Ta-da! There it is.
Now it's right.
Perfect. Okay, here's the information for the Davis Conference 2020 Vision. It'll be August 11th at Farmington High. It may be in person, it may be virtual last time I checked. Is there anything you want to add to that?
Just that people, they'll let you know if it turns out to be not in person, but we're hoping we can just have it in person at Farmington High.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. And then we finally have the graphic for UEN's virtual conference. So we are having our Reimagine Learning Conference on July 29th, and it is going to be half day just in the morning, and it does count for your conference requirement for the tech endorsement. So the top URL there, oh, and it's not bit.ly.com, it's just bit.ly. I gotta fix that. There we go. Ta-da! Okay. Oh no. Luckily, this isn't a way long slide deck. The top bit.ly there is to register for the conference, but we're also looking for presenters. So if there is something that you would like to present on, like you've learned something incredible in your experience in virtual learning, the kind of exciting jump that we took in March, we would love to hear from you and to share with other teachers what's working really well in your classroom, because we all need to learn from one another during this interesting time. So that top bit.ly, bit.ly.com/UEN Reimagine will take you to register for the conference, and that bottom one, bit.ly/UEN Present, will take you to be a presenter. Any questions on that? All right, that's it for today. I'll stop sharing.
Danny, can I just add that Justin sent out that email from about the SD.
Oh yeah,
that conference. Yeah, that summer is $20 and it's July. It's like 2 weeks long. We can put that in there also.
Oh yeah, we need to add that. I'll add that.
It's called Summer Learning Academy.
Yeah, thank you for bringing that up, Brandon. I didn't look and see the cost, so that's good to know that it's
$20. Yeah, it's only $20. Usually $250, and they're doing it for $20. So yeah, it's a good deal.
Is it an online course or conference?
It's online. There's not a lot of details that I could find about it yet. So I don't know if it's how it's set up every day, all day. It's July 13th to the 31st. So I don't know.
I hope it's not every day. All day.
Yeah. So, and you have access to the recordings until October. So you have recording access for a few months afterwards.
And there is one question in the chat. Jackie, those 2 last modules, 11 and 12, should be open for the tech training and the superintendent memo. Or maybe not the it's the tech training and the
lesson plan.
Lesson plan. So the superintendent memo one isn't open yet.
Maybe check the lesson plan one. Jared's gonna check. Thank you, Jared. Oh, I didn't know you were in here, Jared. I should have put you on the spot for the conference like you always do for mine. Rude.
Came in late.
All right, thanks everyone. Oh, Jared says not gonna happen today. Okay, thanks everyone. Great work.
Thanks.
Keep it up.
Thanks everyone.
Yep. Hey, I'm supposed to be next week. Would anybody be willing to trade me? I'm doing a training in Fredonia, Arizona that day, and I don't know where I'm going to be.
What day, what number? June, what's this?
It's 11. 7 plus 4 is 11.
Math is hard, Clint.
Do you want to?
I can do that. I'll switch it.